Today is the last Tuesday of the year. A lot of people have resolutions on their mind. But y'all know that resolutions don't tend to stick, right? The only changes that will stick will be the ones that you truly commit to. So my question to you is, will 2024 be the year when you stop just listening to this podcast and actually commit to making hard changes for the sake of you and your baby? Will this be the year you'll do less talking and more walking? Less talk, more action? I sure hope so. I want to help you get there. So let's head into the new year together in this episode and work on a mindset shift. Are you a Christian woman yearning for a beautiful, joyful pregnancy and birth with a focus on God, not medical tests? Are you worried the birth you want isn't possible and you're tired of being treated like an accident waiting to happen? Hey Mama, I'm Lori, host of Your Birth, God's Way. I'm a certified nurse-midwife now, but I wasn't always. After working for nearly 20 years in the broken maternity system, I too was in your shoes wondering how I could have the birth I wanted and that I felt God meant for me to have. I found a secret that has actually been known since the beginning of time. God's way is the best way. Spoiler alert, God made us and our babies, and He knows us best. He designed us perfectly for pregnancy, birth, and nourishing our babies after birth, if we work with His design and not against it. In this podcast, you'll learn how to be healthy and have joy during this time of life that will be over before you know it. So if you're ready to reclaim your birth and your babies for His glory, go turn on a few episodes of Bluey for that little one on your hip so you can put the focus back on you for a few minutes with me. The last review I get to read for 2024 comes from Shayna. And I love this one because the headline is Great Knowledge and Wisdom, but the first part says, "Hi, borrowed my dad's iPhone to leave a review." And y'all, that makes me smile so big because I tell people all the time, just borrow somebody's iPhone and leave me a review if you don't have one, because Apple Podcasts for some reason matters more. But Shayna actually did, and she told me she did it, so I appreciate that so much. She said, "This is Shayna M. I have thoroughly enjoyed this podcast. I gained so much knowledge. I am planning to have a natural birth, and I now feel prepared to do that. My little will be here at any time, and I'm at peace with the whole thing. I give a lot of credit to Lori for helping me learn all kinds of things. Definitely listen to this if you are expecting Christian mama." This review is such a nutshell, a whole year in a nutshell. This is everything that I wanted this podcast to be. I wanted it to be something that helped other Christian mamas find their way through this world of medicalized maternity and find peace and to just enjoy their pregnancy, to be at peace. And by the way, the reason that Shayna told me who she was is because of the community that we have built that didn't exist this time last year, and now it does. And it just makes me smile. She knows I know who she is, and I just appreciate that so much. I didn't know her a year ago. I didn't know any of you a year ago, and now I do, and I'm so thankful for you all. I'm so blessed that I've been able to talk with you mamas for an entire year. This is the last episode of 2023. I started on January 2nd, 2023, as I ended last week's podcast telling you that was my Ruby, my middle baby's birthday. That was the day that I launched, and so it will always be her birthday, is also the podcast birthday. And it is so fulfilling to know that many of you have had births that were very different than they would have been had we not crossed paths. And I thank God for using me to help you. But some of you are listening to me now and are either new, or maybe you're not new, but you're just still not convinced I'm actually talking to you. Hey, you. I'm talking to you. Yeah, you. Don't look behind you. It's not the person next to you. It's not the person in front of you. It is you. And I'm talking to them too, but I'm talking to you right now. The things I share here can be applied on some level to every single woman who is pregnant. Even if you're one of the small percentage who have a true reason for medical interventions, I'm even talking to you. But here's the thing. I can't do this for you. I do this exercise video a lot, and the lady who leads it is always saying, "I can't do it for you," as she's, yelling at us to suck it up and get moving. That goes for here too. I can't do it for you. I can't labor for you. I can't make the choices for you. I can't make you believe me. You see, I've already had my babies. And as much as I would love to have more, I just turned 42 and it's looking more and more like that phase is done. And I'm so thankful to God that I learned the things that I'm teaching you now before I had my babies, because I learned them, I internalized them, and I made some radical changes. And as a result of me heeding and not just hearing, I have zero regrets and zero health issues that have arisen from my births. As a result of heeding and not hearing, not just hearing, I should say, I nursed all of my babies exclusively past the 6 to 8 month window when I started introducing foods. All of them went past a year. One went past 2 years. One went to 4 years. They've never had formula or any of the baby cereal, quote, food. I don't even know if I call it food. But y'all, it's not because I'm better than you. I'm not. I am just like you. The thing that I did that's different from what a lot of moms do is that I saw what I saw, I believed what I saw, and when I learned better, I did a complete 180 and I did better. I didn't think or rationalize, that's not going to happen to me. I knew it could and probably would if I didn't get out and stay out of that system. And granted, I had the privilege of having seen it firsthand myself in ways that a lot of people don't get to. But a lot of the information that I gained that helped me to learn that didn't come from what I knew inside the system. It came from what I learned outside the system. And here's the thing. As much as I had turned my back on the medical system by the time I became pregnant with my first baby, I still dabbled with it a little bit just to try to save a few dollars. I got my initial labs done for free by the VA, by my primary care there, thinking, I can just let them do this. It'll save me a little bit of money from my home birth midwife. But that choice caused me to end up with a whole lot of interference and a whole lot of joy-stealing fear that I would have avoided if I hadn't been so worried about the expense on the front end. It's a cautionary tale to many of you, and I probably need to do a whole episode on that just to help you understand some of the junk that I went through just to save a few bucks because of the mentality of the people who I asked to do those initial prenatal labs. I could have avoided a whole lot of stress if I had just gotten over the expense, made a way to just go ahead and do it with my midwife. But I digress. We'll deal with that a different day. So why am I saying all this? I'm saying it to tell you I don't need this. The information I'm sharing with you, sadly, I don't need it anymore. I'm not most likely having any more babies. Haven't had menopause yet, so I guess it's still possible. It's up to God. But I don't plan to have any more babies. This information that I'm sharing with you is for you. I put my money where my mouth is, and I have proven that it can be done. From thinking that medical was the only way to go, that's how I started, to driving 5 hours away from my house to have my baby in my midwife friend's foyer because I knew how important that first birth was. I've shown you that it can be done, but sometimes you might have to make some hard choices. Y'all, I'm doing this podcast to help you realize where you're headed if you don't make some changes and to motivate you to actually change course. The difference between successful people who rise and do better and people who maintain the status quo, it's their attitude. Do they look at life as something that's going to happen to them, regardless, they have no power over it? Or are they going to see the better way and make it happen? What good does it do you to listen to me week in and week out, but not ever do anything different? Are you scared? That's okay. Do it scared, but do something. Change your provider if you need to. Change your birth location if you need to. Say no to the medical interventions and the unneeded tests. Say no to being induced. Say no to all the things that are not for your good, but instead serve the system. Say yes to God. Say yes to trusting Him in His way. He made you for this. But just like everything else that we can know about God, for what we read in the Bible and for what we see evidenced around us in the nature that He created, you can choose to believe it, or you can choose to believe the world. Which will you believe, Mama? Which one are you going to choose? Actions speak louder than words. Will your actions prove that you believe God? If you listen and do nothing, you're just wasting your time. In fact, if you know you're not going to change, why even listen? Why waste your time? Here's what I need you to understand. This community is different. The mamas in this community are different from the world. We are can-do mamas who believe God. We are can-do mamas who have chosen to forsake the world in favor of the infinite, perfect knowledge and wisdom of God. And our community is getting stronger and it's growing day by day. We want you in it, but we need you to stand up, put your big girl panties on, and buy in. Be sold out for God and for the fact that you know He made you for this. He made your baby, and He made you, and He did not bring you this far to leave you. Stop just being a listener and start being a doer. This is your year. I know that because if you're pregnant, it is 100% the year that you're going to have your baby, because you will not be pregnant, well, at least not with this baby, this time next year. Right now may be your only chance to make the changes. If you don't, and the system happens to you, as it happens to most moms, these options may be taken away from you next pregnancy. But if you do, you may very well avoid the whole machine. So now what? Are you going to do it? Are you going to stand up even though the odds are against you in this medicalized maternity system? Are you going to be bold and make some changes that may be hard, knowing that you're not alone? You've got me and a whole community of mamas who have made and are making these changes together. If you haven't joined us, what are you waiting for? You do not have to walk this road alone. Besides the community, which, by the way, you can sign up for that down in the comments, the Facebook group. I'm sorry, not in the comments, in the show notes. There's a link down there. But besides that community, you've also got the course, which walks you through everything you're gonna need to know. What better way to start this year out than to start getting some good, solid, faith-based information to guide your way in the rest of your pregnancy? Is there a better way? If you want to truly make some lasting changes, if you want to truly get the motivation to stand up and make some hard choices so that you can have a better pregnancy and a better birth, that course is going to be the tool to put in your toolbox that's going to get you there. We have lots of mamas, and you can go on the information page. You can get the link for that down in the show notes too. Lots of mamas who have left testimonials about the changes that they were able to make and about what the course did for them. And again, I don't take the credit. That is God working through me to get information to you that's hard to get out there. And true information that has God at the center of it is almost non-existent. But now it exists. Who's to say it's not for you? Why do you assume that that course is not the one that was made just so that you can do this? And if that's not enough, the course is great. You're going to get lots and lots and lots of information. But if there's something that's missed in there, you got the chance to ask your questions, and I'll answer them. That's part of the course. And beyond that, if you have a special situation, or maybe you've got some past birth trauma you need to work through, or maybe your husband, baby's dad, is not on board and you really need some intensive time with him and me to try to get him to understand why this matters, I serve you all in that way as well. I offer Midwife and Me Power Hours that we can deal with any situation you're going through. It's like a 1 hour, one-on-one sit-down visit with a midwife who has no agenda, a midwife who doesn't care what the insurance companies say, who will give you honest, unbiased information, one-on-one, tailored to exactly what you need. You have no excuse. If you want to do this, Mama, the resources are there. You have 3 different strong resources available to you. So what are you waiting for? Go get signed up. All the links for all the things I've talked about are all down in the show notes. Go get signed up so that you can be fully prepared to do this God's way, to have your birth God's way. Go do that now, and I'm going to see you next week in 2024. Real quick, if today's episode blessed you in any way, would you head over to Apple Podcasts and leave me a quick 5-star written review? It'll take you less than a minute, but it's the best thank you you can give me, and it will help my show to reach more mamas just like you so we can all find God's best for our families. I'll see you right back here in a few days.